Hey guys, Tay here with the Lift Dark After Dark podcast and Lift Dark Studios. And we got a special episode of the podcast today. So what I want to show you guys is a really cool conversation we had several months ago. So when we hadn't moved into the new building yet, we were still at 508 Roar, but it was pretty well emptied out. We corralled everybody who's been involved with Lift Dark up to that point, and really this point, same cast of characters. We got Aaron, Wyatt, myself, Spike, my dad, Will, and Walker, and we all got in a room together in a mostly empty shop, which was the old shop. And we just talked about the journey we've all been on together. We talked about where the building started, the old price filler machine shop that'd been there forever, and how Lift Dark evolved over the years, and then what it's turned into today, and just all the trials and tribulations and everything that happened along the way, and ups and downs and sidewayses, and it was a lot of fun. And I think you'll learn a lot about who we are and who all the friends of mine that have been involved with Lift Dark over the years, and what we're up to today and what our future goals are. So strap in. This we shot this months ago, but I'm very excited to show it to y'all. And so here it comes, a special episode of the Lift Dark After Dark podcast. Enjoy.
Lift After Dark, yeah.
Tune in to the Lift After Dark, the shadow spell. 10 crew real sexy, rapping tail, setting drip cars free. Cutting out the spots, fly, moving fast in the magnet bed. Man, fucking every week, feel the heat. Catch the beat and we repeat.
Here, you want some Skittles?
All right.
Gentlemen, I've gathered you here today for an important meeting. It is the end of Lift Dark's existence in this building.
508 Roar,
Yes, that's right.
commonly known as,
508 Roar Avenue, Southwest.
on the tax maps.
Yes, right. Zoned industrial for now.
I like to call it Lift Dark 1.0.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's right. This is the origin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the,
Technically my garage.
the
but
OG. Yeah.
This is 1.0.
That was the beta.
That's right. That was
Okay.
open beta testing.
Wasn't alpha, it was the beta.
Good point.
Introduce everybody.
Yeah, right. So for those that are just starting to tune in, or those that have been with us since day one, sitting at this table are many of the men that are responsible for making everything you saw on our channel happen. Not only the fabrication, but the overhaul of this building prior to that. Any of the silly things we filmed or took part in, the things we created and installed for people, and things we giggled about. From my right to left, we got Walker Hooper over here.
Hi, I'm Walker. I do the video editing for the most part.
He does the editing,
Yeah.
for the most part. My dad, Mike, Whiteside, on my right.
The OG of it all.
The real reason any of us are in this building, technically
Well, you
speaking.
especially.
Yeah, for sure.
Full responsibility here. None for the rest of you.
All of you, yeah.
I'm not liable.
You own that.
Yeah. To my left is Wyatt Allen.
Fabricator and comic relief. Tail
You-
end of the joke.
Man,
most of the time.
Man willing to join me in the dirtiest of trenches, especially when we were overhauling this place
Oh, that was fun.
in the early days.
Literally, oftentimes in trenches.
Yeah, you and I dug a trench to find the sewer. It was over there. Yeah. To Wyatt's left, Mr. Aaron Dykstra.
Professional
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Wrangler.
Yeah,
Spider-Man's dad.
yeah. And then Aaron's left is, of course, Arthur. Do we need to have him sign, release
Release.
paper? Oh, man, he's going to town on those skills.
Well, no, he's anonymous.
Oh, good call there. And then, of course, over here we got Mr. Spike
Anonymous.
Geffert.
Yeah, I got introduced after Spider-Man, so
Yeah.
Tough act to follow.
just a regular office guy.
Kind of the Uncle Ben of the story.
Man.
Have you seen Spider-Man? Uh-oh. Hands on the table, bud.
But, of course, it all started back in, 2017, I believe, when we filmed Why don't you start with how this building came into any of our hands?
How did you find it?
Well,
And actually, part of that, Aaron is familiar with some of the some of the Bob Crouch era of
Yep.
the price filler machine
I was
shop.
introduced to Bob Crouch, who was the owner
Yeah.
at the time, and he lived his whole work life here, machining parts for the railroad and surgical applications and blah, blah, blah. And he was timing out, like we all will eventually, and wanted to find a home for it or somebody to take it over. Of course, I'm not a machinist, so I'm not going to take it over. But me and Dale Wilkinson got together and bought this place from him. After that, we
He had passed, and then you bought it from.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very important to the lineage of Bob's story is that he did pass, and we bought it from his widow, and his widow had a number, and that was it, no matter what. So we made the number, and got the keys, and then filmed.
Right.
Yeah, we did an episode of Salvage Dogs.
Yeah, that's right. We're still filming the TV show.
I don't even know what year. I mean, you said 17,
I think so.
16,
I mean, I
16.
I got my LLC in 2018, and that happened, I think, pretty much at the same time. So.
And this was a throwback to the days of machining with line drives and belt drive, and this whole shop was of that era. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
We thought that it was something that's just not around anymore. So people wanted it to be a museum, and
Well,
we
Bob especially.
we didn't have the money to be a museum.
Yeah.
So we introduced Tay to it. There he is.
Mr. Riley Murtaugh.
How you doing, brother?
I agree. I was the most vital part.
Cheers.
You were definitely there, man.
I will eventually, but
Ooh. What are
Let's
these?
get another chair. We can scoot over.
yeah.
Squeeze in.
That would have been good.
Jump in there, Riley.
We've got 20 minutes of overlap between y'all two.
Sick. That would make it happen. Not much. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Talking about origin stories.
Spikes?
The OGs, the oranges.
Alon, do you know Arthur? I mean, Spider-Man?
No.
I.e.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
reveal his identity.
Try and play it cool.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Yep.
We were just
I got
talking about the
muscles.
beginning parts, and like, you can't get more beginning than 1917 when this building was built. And then in the 20s sometime, Mr. Price and Mr. Filler started the Price Filler machine shop, which is still painted on the building out front. And
Yeah, even though this is not a historical landmark, thank you.
it sort of is, though, you know? It's a piece of
Not for
history.
tax
Not
reasons.
officially.
Not for,
Oh, right,
not for
yeah.
tax reasons. Yeah.
Just asking.
Yeah. I don't need all that agony.
Yeah.
But we started, we turned Tay loose on this, and Tay turned himself loose on it and started putting everything in the right piles and started moving equipment.
Well, because at the beginning, it wasn't going to be my shop. It was just that you guys got your hands on this place and you needed to kind of go through it. And I was I had some machining, very light machining experience, but enough to like figure out what everything was.
Yeah.
So I was like, and that was when I was at Black Dog doing just media stuff pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had kind of come out of the shop and I was doing media, so I started working here part-time, I think 2 days a week, to help clean it out, help go through it, help organize.
I'm glad you remember all that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a blur to me.
Yeah, well, it's amazing the memory's still there after all the dust and
Well,
dirt
usually
we
you
inhaled.
remember the trauma.
Good point.
Yeah,
There's
that-
lots of video of all that era, too.
I know.
Of just you, like, so low in here, shuffling around.
Covered in schmutz.
I remember just, like, getting, like, 3 hours of video, I feel like, before we even, like,
Yeah,
came here, of you just, like, putting a camera up and was like,
Right.
wow, Tay, this looked awful. This looks like a bad time.
it was.
Yeah.
Well, so this is so, like, the story of this is so interweaved because when I first started working in here part-time for you and Dale, the new owners of the building, to try to organize it all, it was very clear that I wanted to film it and capture it and document it, which is when you and I reconnected as friends because we grew up together. But you went to school in Miami and you were in Wisconsin for a while and you came back to town. Your mom literally called me and
Same
said,
thing,
"Hey,
yeah.
Walker's back in town."
Can you employ my son?
Essentially, essentially. And I was like, "No,
But here's something neat. Yeah.
here's something he could help film." And it's like, this wasn't a business yet. You know, this was just like something I was barely working on, and I was just like, let's hang out, and I need help filming. I need help documenting.
Yeah, and you know, I just moved back, and Riley and I actually moved back like
The same day.
without coordinating, moved back the exact same day to town.
Yeah. And
Destiny.
you two were in the same grade in high school, right?
Yep.
I was a grade above, but we
Yeah,
all
we've been
went to the
friends
same high
since
school.
6th grade.
Something like that.
Yeah. So,
But you know, we moved back, and we're looking for things to do and build our portfolios, so to speak. And this seemed like a cool way to take some creative lead on a project that we can kind of like build a narrative around for the first time, like self-directing in a way.
Which was great, because I did not have the capacity to do it. I was like, I got to clean this shop out. Whatever you guys think you can turn this into. I wasn't even thinking about end product yet. I was just like, I want to fill hard drives with this footage, and then we'll figure it out.
We didn't understand end product either. Because the first video we put out, the craftsman mindset, which is a small little interview right over there.
Yeah.
We had like a single drop light bulb hanging over you. You're like posted up against that lathe.
Yeah.
Talking
still
about
looks really good.
Yeah.
All the corners in the shop have really cool light.
yeah.
So
Talking about like what, you know, blending the old school machinists with the new school kind of like makers and creators
Yeah.
and things like that.
It was like my attempt to describe the narrative of working and appreciating old ways, but in a way that can be marketed and understood and sold and appreciated by people now in 2024.
Yeah, one of the biggest creative kind of hurdles that Riley and I think went back and forth on was how to bridge generational gaps.
Yeah.
Because we're mostly a group of younger millennials who like have taken techniques of the old guys and are now trying to format them in a way that's digestible for people our age or younger.
it's funny because I feel like you watch those original videos and it feels like we're trying to make like reality TV.
Yeah.
Rather than like YouTube, more of what you guys do now.
Which is where we
format of
came
it.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
which is-
reality TV.
Yeah.
Well, I think actually
interesting how
that was we had talked to Bill Hayes,
The creator of
name
Salvage
dropped
Dogs.
the originator of Salvage Dogs, and he was like, you know, basically address it as like a pilot of a TV show. You know, shoot it like build a narrative around every episode. You know.
Well, he was big on the TV format, which is like establish the problem, lay out the challenges, and then go about, you know, explain how you're going to attempt to overcome them, and then film that. You know, but like hook people by going, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
This seems impossible. This thing weighs 30,000 pounds. What are we going to do?
Which
And then you cut to commercial.
yeah, which we did a callback with Aaron building like a bar top recently. You know,
Oh, yeah. We're going to lose the shot.
our fake TV show. But
It's fun to let some of those elements creep back in when you're doing YouTube, because YouTube is such a departure from that
Yeah.
typical,
Yeah,
which
I mean,
is something that the three of us all sort of
Yeah.
it's like it didn't have a home for a while. Like, where is this going to live?
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yeah, I mean, those first like 5 to 10 videos were basically just Tay has to move a thing.
Yeah.
So it
what
was
does
like,
this thing do?
How can we make that interesting? And like you guys took that and evolved it and made it into something that. How many subscribers are you at? 70 plus?
72,000
Yeah,
now,
so-
basically.
One of my favorite parts about those early videos is you figuring out what the machine is, what it does, because like you said, you had light machining experience. So you
Yeah.
were learning, you were the learner in the video
Just
itself.
hands like, oh, that.
And then finding the right people to actually get the machine that you, because you have so much love and care about these old things. And so when you found somebody to actually pick them up, it was really fun, you picking their brains on
Oh, yeah.
what it is, how they're restoring it, what they're going to be doing with it, where are they going with it. That was fascinating to me.
Me too. Yeah.
because-
That's when I forgot the camera was there, and I was like, dude, no way.
Yeah.
Like,
And you have all your fingers, which is amazing.
Those guys did.
Yeah. David, shout out David. Last name starts with a W. I can't remember, but he's the one that he was so good on camera. He got the bombshell lathe and some other stuff, but he was
the guy that also got like his eye. He got something happened with his eye.
His eye socket got shattered.
Yeah,
and his fingers got ripped off.
Nicknamed Lucky.
He was talking about he was talking about how he grew up in
he
a
was like
machine
bending
shop
his fingers
as a
like
grease
showing
boy.
us.
Yeah.
And he was working on stuff, and his thumb had been ripped off 3 times, but then you look at how these machines used to.
Third time's on you.
How many lives does a thumb have? You know,
There's still blood on it from last time.
Well, yeah. My dad, as an orthopedic surgeon, was looking at that video being like, this guy is my worst nightmare. Because he's a hand specialist, too. So he's like,
his hands are just full of marbles.
I've seen 100 of these guys come into my shop or come into my office, and like most of the time it's not fixable. Like that guy is beyond lucky.
It's gone.
yeah. You don't
Luck
just,
ran out. But yes, so really, it seemed as though other people really resonated with that too, which was the nuts and bolts of it was I found a forum called Practical Machinists, and on that forum there was a sub-forum called Vintage Machinery.
Yeah.
And on this subforum, I could post the grainiest, blurriest photo of any machine tool made in the last 300 years. And there's this like army of old guys that would just descend on it and go, well, that's this. And if you look under here, you'll find the serial number. And they made those between 1920 and 1925. And
I've been looking for one of these.
And then it's always ended by, well, are you going to sell it? And so actually, the process of selling all that old stuff to people that I knew were going to appreciate it wasn't all that difficult. It was just constant work. I had to move. I had to unearth from the catacombs.
Oh, the unearth.
I had to clean to the point where you could see what the hell it was, and then photograph it and upload it and relay it, and then deal with it until some angel comes out of the woods and says, "I want it."
Right.
And then
and you know that those people are going to be characters because like they have a fascination with something that you're,
obscure bit of history.
Right. Yeah. And so, like, I mean that made it fun and cool just to kind of hear.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that this stuff is still alive.
Yeah.
That it's not all CNC and it's analog, mechanical.
Yeah.
I'm not sure any machines left this shop since it opened its doors until you got here.
We would say that when we pulled stuff out of here this last time. Like, I think this is the first time this machine has seen sunlight in 80 years. We had some characters. We had a guy named Brett Davis from Pennsylvania who bought the Bullard vertical boring mill, one of those Lemco H-beam presses, and I think a small lathe. But he took that Bullard, which is like a 20,000-pound milling machine. He took it completely apart, restored it, repoured the Babbitt bearings, repainted everything, and put everything back together, and he still used it.
Okay.
It's really cool. Yeah. What does he use it for?
He just has a small machine shop in Pennsylvania, and those machines, you would use it to. It's like a lathe, but stood up on its end. And so you could cut into stuff that's bigger than, instead of it hanging off the side of the chuck, it's just sat flat on a turntable.
How was the process of finding someone to move something that heavy?
We were it. Yeah.
But down the road though.
Yeah. Well, that machine in particular, we used this big chain hoist that was over here on this huge I-beam.
Yeah.
Levitated it off the ground very nervously, had him back his trailer underneath it, and lowered it back down. And you could see that beam like flex a little bit.
Yeah,
as a building owner, I wasn't here that day.
Pull down the ceiling with
to
that
see
thing.
the distorted 20-inch I-beam.
Just a little.
That was the first time I was ever in here.
Was loading that.
And like I was working for a news station at the time, so I worked like the morning. I worked like 3 a.m. to noon.
Right.
And Walker was just like, "Yeah, just come by and we're filming it." Like I didn't know what we were doing.
This is Sparkle.
And so I just walked in, and there's like
Neither did we.
4.
Old
How do I
guys.
put it nicely? Yeah.
That's okay, dude. I know who I am.
Well, there's like a teenager, and then there's Tay,
Brett's son.
and then there's
Yeah.
2 like older gentlemen who are like moving this. I mean, the largest, heaviest thing I've ever seen anyone move with their hands. And
From
so-
the furthest back corner of the
Yeah.
shop, we rolled it on metal cylinders all the way up to here, and then barely got it over his trailer. And then we used that was that sound in the video. Those like chain hoists, just like just scraping it up his trailer, carrying it up the whole way because of how heavy it was. But it was that for a year, probably. Pretty constantly. You would come around every now and again because
I would come in around every now and again. I had a bunch of other stuff going on at the time, but I would help out. Tay did the vast majority of everything.
it was pretty much a solo venture for quite a while.
I got to play with the grabulator, little things like that.
Regulator, of course.
And help take down, it's crazy, sitting here seeing this place empty, because remembering the balcony that was all the way this over here, there was the janky stairs, and I remember underneath here there was those file cabinets that I think I still use those file cabinets,
Nice.
and some janky wiring. Oh my gosh, this place, the floors were just
Wild.
it
Yeah.
was crazy.
I like the
Very
bathroom
right
in the
in the
corner
middle.
was a jewel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
jewel.
Yeah.
It was a rough without a diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was being facetious,
And
obviously.
right where we're sitting was that huge lathe.
Yeah, the pond, there's a 22-foot lathe that was sitting right inside this front door, right there. And that mezzanine was over it, and the worst bathroom you've ever seen in the back.
The only thing that hasn't moved is that whole,
Literally.
all the drill bits that go into that specific drill.
They're Morse taper drill bits. It's a whole rack of them, and actually,
They were just sold.
they're just sold. I have some cash for you.
Yeah.
But because of how those things are and how
I'm done here.
We have to move them right now.
you're just here to get the money.
That's always, just pay the bills, baby. The banker's going to be very happy to hear that.
It's actually how he just got everyone here to help him move it.
That's it.
Yeah, actually, I'm landlord. I need to be out today.
Well, I happen to know him, and you're a week late.
Damn. But yeah, because of how heavy that is and how integral it was to the wall, we literally just poured concrete underneath it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not moving that. We're just poured it
I
all
didn't
the way
realize that.
underneath
That's
it.
funny.
Yeah, so it's probably not screeded properly all the way under there.
It's probably concrete dust.
Don't tell the landlord.
Yeah.
One thing was real interesting about his organization, this Mr. Crouch, is that all the tools, you found this out later, all the tools and bits for each machine were around the machine.
Yeah.
Under it, on it, but not far from it.
Right.
And if you moved them, they're lost, and you don't know where they go back. So that once you identified what that was important to keep the organization for the machine together and keep the bits together.
Yeah.
And because when he was using them, obviously hey, that chuck's down here, or that blah 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 is over there. That was his organization,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you, he knew where everything was in this building.
Mm-hmm. Several guys did. I actually connected with some of the other Jeff. And I think there was one more guy that came by, but it was a job shop, right? So they would, by the time Crouch owned it, they would do literally anything. Guy would bring in a bent connecting rod from his lawnmower engine or, whatever it was and say, could you straighten this or make a new one or fix it?
That's how I got my initial connection here, because I was at 601 Campbell in the basement of what was the old Whaley Brothers Harley Davidson shop, and I had a big alignment table, and I needed a larger bottom bracket post. And I just walked down here and talked to Jeff, and he made me one. And then I started coming down here anytime I needed something machined or relieved, and he would do it. And eventually, it's got weird ties going all the way back to the Making Foundation, which was my nonprofit. But this was something that I identified as oh man, this could be an amazing space for that. And Bob was kind of the thing standing in between that. He was so set not only on his number, But I had gone to Beth Fitzpatrick and talked to him about how can we make this an education center, connect it to the Science Museum, or I'm sorry, the Transportation Museum and all that. And we couldn't make, he didn't want anything leaving the space because he knew where everything was. And he's like, this is, he wanted it to be showcased, but he wanted it as is.
Yeah, he wanted to turn it into a literal museum.
Yeah.
Which, the reality between that dream and an actual museum is so...
Big chasm.
Yeah, because like, there were literally five light bulbs hanging from the ceiling, and the floor was all craggy, and
the walkways were not very wide.
No,
it was
literally rat trails in between everything.
I was gonna say, I remember the floor. I don't even remember what the floor looked like, but I remember it was.
You couldn't see it.
Yeah, it was
Weird shades of green
not safe.
Yeah, no.
To put it
I
lightly.
just remember carrying, like there was this weird, overly strong dolly that was, and it was horrible to roll on straight ground, and we had this floor that was just horrendous. We put heavy stuff on there, and the rope, me and you were sitting there yanking on
I still
this
have
thing.
that dolly.
Oh my gosh, what a crumbly piece of crap. It works every time, and you hate it and cuss at it, but can't give it away.
You gotta have
throw
it.
it away.
Yeah.
It was amazing and horrendous at the same time.
Right. Well,
the
that's
dolly.
a
I
lot
remember
of
the
this
dolly.
job. Could be described that way. It's amazing. Oh shit. What are we gonna do?
I remember coming in. I was working at architecture office at the time. I had
Yeah.
a black pea coat on. And I remember you showing me around and like being careful not to touch anything because it was just dust.
You came in so clean and back then it was just everything was covered in grease.
Dust, yeah. Like the whole place looked like that rack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just black,
Oh yeah, I remember I would
grease.
just go home and blow my nose, and it'd be like, oh,
I've been breathing that.
oh boy, yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad for you mostly.
Yeah.
You know.
I had 2 years of that, so I'm sure I'm
No heat. The only heating was the Dragon. There was a huge boiler, wood burning coal stove.
It was freezing in
And
there. I remember
I
that.
think Dale has it now, but it was a monster. You could
I
probably
fired it up once or
probably
twice.
put a quart of wood in that thing,
It was huge.
And back in the day, it used to get cold here.
Was that in the back corner?
It was right in the middle.
About where we are right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's the vent over there.
Yeah.
They had this giant vent that went
Yeah.
straight over.
Yeah.
So in the summer they sweat, and in the winter they sweat.
Yeah.
The common thing is sweat. I'm sure it got hotter than hell in here, but
Oh yeah.
Well,
Well, and when we got in here, everything worked. Like the line shaft would still spin if you ran power to it. And I remember just like one of my first goals was just a lot of machines had just stuff piled on them. So I wanted to like clear the machines off, like soak them in oil and see if they still worked. And I got every single one fired back up. There was a GA gray metal planer that had a 9-foot bed of cast iron that would slide back and forth underneath a cutter. There was a Gould and Ebenhart metal shaper that was about the size of this table that was sort of a planer but smaller. Larry Lauren has that now.
yeah.
There was there's a 12-foot Lodge and Shipley lathe that we still have. There was the Bullard, which still worked. Just this 37-inch hunk of steel just would go. Bunch of small.
Hey, what
lathes.
does this do?
Yeah, pretty much. And all these clutches in the ceiling. You get the main shaft spinning, and then you reach for a well-weathered piece of wood hanging from the ceiling and go kunk, and then stuff would start spinning, and then dust would fly off of it.
We'll still have a lot of that stuff in the bins.
Yeah.
It's amazing to even. I remember hearing that motor. Is it still there? Mm-hmm. Hearing that
GE.
motor turn on.
Westinghouse.
It was so quiet,
Yeah,
and it still is. Wasn't it a single phase?
I think it's a 3-phase.
Three-phase?
Yeah, AC
was-
motor.
So quiet. It was
Yeah, it's
amazing.
going to stay there too.
Yeah.
So what that was left here is anything moved over to your new shop, or what's?
The sander
Still in
you
use.
use all the time.
Oh yeah. There's a nice.
Easy to move stuff.
Yeah. Well, and we still got the Bridgeport and the 1950s Hindi lathe that we would use. The lathe has a busted motor on it now, but
I might have an extra one for you.
good, sweet. Yeah, I still use this a World War II vertical belt sander,
I think it's awesome.
a Craftsman drill press from 1950. the H-beam Limco press from the 1940s. It leaks oil, but it works. Leaks a lot of oil. There's several other things, but this actually leads us into a good point, which is our discussion about blending old and new. Like, the reason why Bob's dream didn't work is because you can't make money unless it's literally a museum or an educational institution or a nonprofit. You just could not use these old machines to make money anymore.
Right.
Like they're worn out, they're inefficient, they're dangerous. You know, the business structure around a machine like that being an actual money-making device is so complicated, and insurance would never touch it, and you could never have people in the shop. You really couldn't tell anyone what you're doing and still use machines like that in any sort of legal sense. Not to mention that, like, you know, a Bridgeport, you know, that one was made in 1969. That thing has replaced, between that and like a 10-foot lathe, you could build just about anything.
Yeah.
And lathes have gotten so much cheaper and so much better. And, you know, CNC came out in like the 80s and 90s, and we're talking about 2024. So, you know, Langmuir has a $11,000 CNC milling machine that could make literally any part out of metal. And it's like, and
As
it
long
fits.
as it's this big.
But then the whole machine fits, you know, but then you have like, you know, Tormax and your Haas machines and all these CNC things that.
Which is such a fascinating storyline for this building, specifically having Langmuir in here and having that be cutting edge technology in a box, basically replacing everything that this place did,
Sure.
which was cutting edge at one point. Yeah. This was the place. One of the interesting, not only the medical stuff, which is fascinating, but one of the most interesting tidbits about this building that I heard from Bob was there is a connection through somebody high up at the railroad with Hollywood. And they made, because they did all the stuff for the railroad, but they did all of the spy props for the original Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was built in this shop and sent out to
That was
Hollywood.
my favorite show.
That's really
like
cool.
Insane. It's a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah.
But it's because this was one of the cutting edge places that could do that at the time.
Yeah.
So if we had to guess, like what decades was this a cutting edge, considered like a cutting edge shop?
1930
Yeah.
to 1950.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
you know,
wartime.
World War II, it was just after World War I.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of the machines in here, some of them literally had serial numbers from the 1800s. Mm-hmm. Like the patent, they may not have been made in the 1800s, but the latest patent number on the casting was like 1890, 1895. Mm-hmm. So
Industrial
technically
Revolution.
speaking, turn of the century, you know, it was a 1900s cutting edge machine shop.
That was just a little bit before my time.
So we got
Only
in
a little
here
bit,
literally 100 years after some of those machines were built. So, you know, everyone's screaming at us in the early days like, you're ruining history. It's like, okay, how do you see this working?
Yeah, what credit card would you like to use? That's what I always ask.
How do you make because I'm in the interest of doing what I love, but also to make a living. And the prospect of using really any of those big machines to make any sort of meaningful living I didn't see how to do it. And so we got them into the hands of people that either have a bunch of time, a bunch of money, or both. And they get to just tinker with them forever. But we kept them out of the scrapyard. Anything that was viable for anyone at all, we did try very hard, and I think succeeded in keeping it out of the
Yep, you did a good
out
job.
of the landfill. Which, having come from Black Dog, right, the whole ethos
Salvage.
was keeping things out of the landfill if at all possible.
It's borderline hoarding. With
Right.
You know,
So I learned some lessons.
know how to get rid of stuff. Just let go.
God, nowadays I love throwing things away. It's so
Repurposing, we call it.
Yeah.
It's turned into garbage, by the way.
Yeah,
You know.
they're building, the planet diameter is getting bigger. That's my view on it. Trash mountains around the globe.
Oh,
Just piling it up, you know.
that's huge.
But technically, I guess it all came from the planet, so
It can't get any bigger. It's like water, you know.
Energy's not created nor destroyed.
That's right. Now we can get real deep now.
That's enough.
Yeah. I think we beat that horse.
So string theory.
But so, like, you know, it really was like 2 or 3 years of more or less solitary moving. And I don't even know how to describe the methodology other than, let's say you found a table in that shop and it was full of stuff. We'll rip all that stuff off the table and then clean the table and then put everything back on the table in an organized fashion. And I literally did that for a year. I would pick a corner of the shop and go, this sucks, move it out, clean the floor, vacuum, whatever.
You needed floor space.
Yeah.
And as soon as you've cleared a floor space, then you reorganized in that floor space.
Yeah, and so it was just this.
To make more floor space.
All over the place.
It was one of those little puzzles that we used to have as kids. Little squares.
There's one missing square.
Yeah,
you got to shuffle the tiles around.
That's right.
Literally what this
Kind
was.
of a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, but
of his.
So at what point did you say, did you go from I'm going to do part-time to work on this place and clean it up to this looks like it's my new shop?
yeah.
Like, where was that switch and how far along through the process was it so that you could make this into what you needed it to be Lift Art?
Right.
And when did that happen?
Well, I think it happened during when COVID kind of hit, really. I was doing this part-time, cleaning it out. I was getting to a point. I mean, by the time 2020 came around, we had been working on it for like 2 years. And I think it was getting to the point where you could go through it and it wasn't a mess anymore, or at least you could walk around. And then, I was at Black Dog, still working for you, and hard times hit and had to furlough some people for a little while.
Yep.
But I was already sort of thinking, like, what's my next chapter in life? Like, what do I want to do? I think I want to branch out, and I knew I wanted to specialize in metalworking somehow, some way. And then I guess the two realities just combined, where it was like, here's this building we've been working on, and there's a bit of
we need a tenant.
Jumping off point from Black Dog, and you guys were, because honestly, the prospect of selling it to anyone else,
Yes, and it happened to be somebody that was sympathetic and young enough to do the work, because he was being paid to do the work, but also looking for somebody that would pay the rent.
Well, at a certain point, I think I quit charging y'all for my time because I realized that I was putting in now effort that would become my new shop. It's like, it doesn't make sense for y'all to pay me to build my dream shop. So
Kind of a hybrid.
there was but essentially at that point, that's when, I guess 2018, I got Lift Arc Studios LLC, and we were doing, you, me, and Walker were doing some production stuff for a while. Technically, Lift Arc's first paying gigs were video production gigs, which is really funny.
Pretty funny,
looking back. We knew how to do it. We were just really tying it together with fishing line. Because would
have been a weird business model.
Yeah.
If it had.
Oh, so you do this for a living? No, I'm actually a fabricator.
No, I'm actually,
But we're here filming a how-to series.
Ask me to fabricate something, and I will lose all fingers in one go. I mean,
I forgot
Great
about
content.
the yoga
I could-
studio.
Yeah, that'll go viral.
yeah,
The blood
For the
was
views.
always a good
for
seller.
the views.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, that's true.
But so then, 2020, I guess, was when it was like, okay, I think that's when the clock started because I cashed out my 401k. I got a business loan from the bank, and I officially left Black Dog. And so at that point, I'm so sorry. At that point, I was like, I have no source of income unless I create it in this shop. And so that was like the last heavy fire that was lit. And it's like, okay, clock's ticking. Let's see if you can open a functional metal shop before you run out of money.
Yeah, you had to feed yourself, pay your mortgages, pay your rent.
Yeah. I started renting from you.
Yeah.
I was paying, I had a house out in Vinton.
Yeah.
And
The field day house.
the field day house.
Yeah, that's another one.
And so late 2020, I think, was, Walker would know if he was here, it might have been 2021 or late 2020 was when I did my buddy Michael needed a metal chimney cap for his house out in Daleville. And he asked me if I could build it. And I went out and took some measurements and said yes. And first you know,
First paid gig?
first paid job, I think, was building a custom chimney cap that was a little smaller than this table. He had a pretty big chimney. But I remember I had like a wooden workbench because I cleaned out a woodworker's shop who went out of business. And I just laid a sheet of 3/16 steel on top of this wooden workbench and was like, well, that'll work. And there was nothing. I was still using Steve's welder. There was nothing in here. But like I always said, like, as long as I could plug in a welder and an angle grinder, I can figure out how to make some money. So I was like, well, let's get to that point. And we did.
Yeah.
That was, yeah. And then it was just refinement from then. I mean, we poured a new slab in here, which about $13,000 of fiber reinforced concrete that sits on top of the old slab and is connected with 1 million tap cons that they drilled in. We pressure washed the entire building, including the ceiling, which was really special.
Yeah.
We had our buddy Chris come in here and rewire the entire shop. So got 2 salvaged electrical panels from Black Dog, screwed them into the wall, and then all of this conduit was run from scratch.
I think these lights are from a salvage down in Largo, Virginia, the Cap Center.
Yeah, you and I salvaged these lights out of a shopping mall.
Yeah.
And then I pulled the ballast out of them and replaced all the bulbs with LEDs, 5,000K LEDs, so we could film and the cameras were happy. Got a compressor, got everything. And
Oh my gosh, I remember when the lights started to go in and the difference in the look of the shop, just lighting up.
It was a cave.
It was an absolute
It was a cave.
literally
Yeah.
5 light bulbs hanging from the ceiling before.
It was a dark and dingy place.
Yeah, I mean, some of those videos, like especially the one where you guys are taking down the mezzanine, I just remember, like, and I mean, we weren't making any money with YouTube or anything like that,
No,
so we were, working for free and just out here with our, the cameras that we could afford with our own money and just trying to crank up that exposure and like barely being able to see Wyatt up there, in the corner. And,
Your poor Sony just like ISO at 128,000, just like, come on. But and then the office, of course, this office wasn't here, so there was the prospect of there were no amenities. There was no working bathroom. There was no working water. Actually, the water main had broken underneath the foundation, so it didn't have like things you need to exist. And so we had to establish all of that. So Wyatt and I one day, I had a girl, Lynn Horn. Actually, she's a badass plumber. She had one of those like probes that she could find pipes and trace the sewer pipe from back there all the way up to this front corner. And then because we wanted to put the office over here, we had to dig down and find it.
Did you get a Mini X?
Eventually.
Yeah. Once you found it, then you cut certain spots in the floor, took a Mini X, ripped up that pipe. And
Yeah, we cut a
replaced the
channel.
pipe, didn't you?
We cut a channel from over there to where the bathroom is, dug down, tapped into the old like cast iron sewer pipe that was over there, and then ran PVC over to here where we could establish a shower, a toilet, a sink.
That's why.
Did you leave the sewer pipe over there?
It's still under here.
Yeah.
It's just not connected to anything.
Oh, okay.
It's teed
It's
in.
good to know as a Atlanta. I'd like to put a toilet back here in the corner.
Too bad.
that's how I enter the building.
Yeah. That's how it entered the building.
Yeah, right.
You got sewer entering the building? I thought sewer went out of the building.
No, that's how I get to the building. That's my direct route.
The sewer?
Yeah. I'm a sewer boy.
You and the rats?
Clip that, Walker. I'm a sewer
Flip
boy.
that. He's a
Yeah.
sewer boy.
Yeah.
But we framed this in, it was like, all right, how do you frame a new wall in a 100-year-old building? You just, we found sort of guidelines that existed naturally, like these I-beams and the center. And just told the framing crew, shout out to Alex and his crew, just go all the way up, is what I said.
Stop at the ceiling.
And I remember him making a big deal out of the corner here. He goes, if I follow the middle beam and this beam, the corner's not going to be square. And I was like, well, by how much? And he just showed us, and I was like, it's fine. Yeah. The framer that really bothered him. He's like, it's not going to be a square corner. And I'm like,
Yeah.
look around.
Yeah. There's no straight walls
I remember
either.
doing you had the blueprints in the first place of this building, and it's, it is not square. It is definitely
It's like a tombstone or a coffin
Yeah,
shape.
it's like it's got a
Very ironic for a machine shop. Let's be honest.
But and that's the weird part is like if you look at like the GIS or whatever, it's like all the buildings. This is one of the cornerstones to where other buildings next to it is all square, and this one is just crooked.
It filled the
Yeah.
space.
It filled this.
Yeah, that was what was left.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can really see it when you drive down the backside here.
You can see the gap in between.
Campbell, yeah.
Because technically it's not touching either one of these buildings. There's like a 2-inch air gap in between the brick walls.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
I remember doing
Good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
drawings of this building with the laser. Took all the measurements, and I'm like in CAD, like nothing goes together. Nothing matches up.
That's right.
There's something wrong here.
Because I think before I hired Will and
Yeah,
Balzer to do the plans, you helped me do some preliminary stuff.
Yeah.
That was very interesting. That was the beginning of it. Bringing Will,
Yeah.
a very like straight down the middle kind of architect.
How does this work?
And I'm just like, what do you think? And he's like, whew.
This is going to be
How you
complicated.
spell that?
Yeah. But Will's the one that did the layout for the bathroom and how all the doors had to go and where I had to put the handles to make it an ADA bathroom, even though the front door was only 2 feet wide and a wheelchair wouldn't
That's
fit through it anyway.
That's amazing.
I was like, I know, and I was going to put a curb in the shower, and they said I couldn't do that, so I had to put a ramp there, and I was like, great, now I'm going to slip on this stainless ramp, but at least a handicapped person can take a shower. Yeah, drywall, paint, lights, and then then I had a place to think. And I guess at that point it was me working, running the whole thing, and then Walker eventually, I started paying him regularly because I wanted to, and I could. And I think somewhere in that you got a job were you at Foot
Yeah.
Levelers? Maybe?
Yeah.
And that's how
With
Will and Riley
Yeah.
knew each other. So you
Yeah,
had
I
gotten
got a
paying
steady
gig.
day job, so I was kind of
Riley and Walker, because they contacted me to talk to you about what should we do with this? How should we film this? What should we like?
Yeah.
the
So Will was on
interweaving
the
connections of
periphery the whole
Roanoke.
time.
Never, you never go too far without having a connection to someone.
Uh-huh.
But
Well, it's Roanoke.
right, exactly. Yeah,
You know.
but yeah, and then
It
we
is a small town.
we shot our 48-hour film here too.
That's right. You and Walker were in
2
a
years ago.
48-hour film
Yeah.
contest.
Yeah,
What a great set,
I know.
you know.
It was awesome.
I think the last incident, days since last incident sign
Yeah,
you
that was a
made,
prominent,
it's still taped to my wall over here.
yeah, prominent display.
It says 48 and then it's crossed out.
Yeah, yeah.
But
How'd the film do?
We got nominated for a couple things, but didn't win.
A little long.
It's okay.
too long for a
Yeah.
short film.
Yeah,
I think pizza's here. You guys want to take a pizza break?
Yeah.
sure.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the Lift Dark After Dark podcast is brought to you by none other than us here at Lift Dark Studios. We've got some cool merch that we came out with. We've got our grandpa rope hat available in dark green with a yellow rope and dark blue with a red rope. Very, very limited quantities of these available on our shop, so definitely check those out. We've got our LAS throwback shirt with the pink LAS on the front and a cool retro throwback LAS design on the back that says Custom Design and Fabrication, Lift Dark Studios. And we have our classic black pocket tee, Lift Dark Studios logo on the front with a pocket. These are Hanes beefy, nice heavy duty work shirts, and then the Lift Dark Studios logo on the back. We appreciate your support, and let's get back to the show. So we're back from pizza, and Mr. Aaron and Mr. Arthur, you guys have to peace out, but
Spider-Man.
sorry, Spider-Man.
Yeah, don't blow it.
His scrubs are becoming unzipped. So why don't you real quick talk about how you got involved, and then
I got involved. Well, really, I remember, I don't know, I think it was a memory that popped up recently when you had a cherry picker or something out front. I don't know what was coming in or going out.
one of the machines maybe I
Yeah,
was
that was
selling.
probably COVID-ish time frame.
And you and I had known each other for several years
You,
before.
yeah, you shot something. You shot one of the Behind the Craft series.
At the Maker
Yeah.
Foundation. Maker Foundation.
At the old Maker Mart, which there's some Element Still safety sign.
Yeah.
Which was the fresh vegetables and meats sign from the old Save-A-Lot grocery store that I
nice.
rearranged in that. But COVID killed the Making Foundation. That whole no hands-on thing really really makes hands-on education difficult. And after I got done licking my wounds from that a little bit, after having spent many years teaching in that element, this was such a great landing spot for me to be able to come back and kind of get my land legs, so to speak, back, just in terms of not teaching small children not to hurt each other with hammers, which ironically has come very full circle. So now I am.
Yeah, because since then you had
kind of
Arthur and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I thought you meant Tay and Walker.
I heard that.
Also,
Yeah.
It says safety incident scratched out for a reason.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But then just being able to get back in here, it really felt serendipitous in a lot of ways. Just kind of the lineage of the building and kind of being able to watch Lift Art grow over the past couple of years has just been a really cool thing. And
Well, you had a big hand in that.
Well, I'm glad to have any hand in it, and it's just been a fun ride for sure, top to bottom. Life finds a way.
Given your fab experience and mine and how different they were, to learn from each other and like approach things differently.
100%.
It was really fun.
100%. It's exciting to see where that trajectory is still headed.
Dude, yeah. Well, and you're starting your shop back up now,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Tell the people.
Well, watch out, 2025. Hard Way Handmade, coming soon.
Hard
Doing things the hard
way, handmade. All right.
I do things the hard way. Literally and metaphorically speaking.
So it's true. It's in the storyline. It's in the header,
It's how to make and how to have a relationship. All those fun things. Do everything the hard way.
Can you share yet what kind of stuff Hard Way Handmade is going to be doing?
It's an amalgamation of kind of everything that I've done and care about, but I will leave it at it is well-considered objects.
I like that.
Leave a little mystery on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
wide open right there.
Yeah.
What would an Aaron business plan be without a little bit of mystery?
Right on cue. Right on cue.
I understand you're late for a nap.
It's coming, yes.
Yeah.
It's happening in real time.
Arthur's playing
We will
with
see
Arthur, is there anything you want to plug? Halloween?
You need what?
Spirit Halloween.
What are you getting?
Arthur ran into the closet.
Does Arthur have a podcast or?
I think he said he needed
handle, social handle?
Yeah, does he have
that
any,
sounds great.
You can reach Arthur by way of his dad's Instagram.
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure Hardway Handmade will be out there.
Yep.
To follow. And,
Yep, we got.
But I'd love to keep. I'm sure the people would love to see what you're working on.
Oh
so
yeah, don't think I'm going.
We have a million.
I'm not out of your hair.
Good. Good. It is receding. That's so fine.
Well, he gets it natural.
I know, look. I'm literally getting I gave you shit for so long about the peninsula. Maybe that's karma, really. I should be.
Well, you still have a peninsula. I have an island.
They both sound nice this time of year.
It's all good.
It is. Global warming.
Forehead warming. Oh yeah. But man, it was amazing to have you come into this space having already had a relationship with the building. And then we got to appreciate that together as we grew and as we took
And I got to appreciate all the hard work you did in
Appreciate
cleaning
that.
it. Because that was, talk about a sliding doors scenario where that could have been me pressure washing the ceiling. And I would not have been able to get rid of stuff in the same way. So it would probably be in the exact same state of how it was. Everything would just be wet.
Yeah, nice patina on it, rusty. It was so oily you couldn't rust anyway.
No,
Yeah,
it
true,
could have
true.
rained in here for 10 years and rust wouldn't have formed on anything.
Man.
You would have just slowly started to look like Bob Crouch.
It's like looking in the future, really. Down to the overalls. It was,
Yeah. Mixing paint at Lowe's didn't sound that bad after all.
Oh man! But as far as and then you, Mr. Wyatt, you're clean out if you need it. I'm sure we'll see each other
Yes.
on stuff. But
Love you all.
He's got
See you soon.
nap time coming up.
Got
Hell yeah.
for both of us.
for both of us.
Love you guys.
Say hi
See
to
you,
Ted
Aaron.
for
Take
me.
care.
Yeah, I will.
Don't forget your mic.
I
And then you, Mr. Wyatt. Even before that, it was your history is very storied from concert bass performance guy to oil field mudman technician and
Yeah, degree in music. Went down to Texas for a couple years, toured all over the country. Came back, learned how to build guitars because I've always had mechanical and the yearning for dirt. Which is, still applicable
yearning for
today. I ended up doing all kinds of weird stuff in those times. Ended up getting an opportunity to go to a mud school for the oil field. Took some schooling down in Texas, worked in the oil field for a couple years until everybody got laid off, especially for just a political reason, which I'm not going to get into it. Moved back, did all kinds of cool stuff. Ended up finding Roanoke. Landed here and just jumped into the scene, jumped into everything. When I got to Roanoke, I met Spike through a kickball league.
yeah.
And Spike said, "Dude, I'm thinking about buying a bus. My friend is
Hey,
helping
Arthur.
me."
See you, buddy.
Bye, Arthur.
Bye, buddy. Have a good nap.
Heck yeah, man.
I'm not far behind you, buddy.
Spike said, "You got to meet my buddy Tay. He's helping me potentially fix up a bus."
Helping.
I had a good hand in hindering that bus project as well.
These are y'all's words.
So the bus that sat at your
For
house?
6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I met Tay that way, and
You and I literally met in the back of a short bus. Like quite literally.
yes, we really did.
We were
Metaphors are a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
Not the short bus, but a short bus.
Yeah, we were sitting in the back of this bus and going about how we'd fix it, and then it turned into 3 hours of dude, I know. I like this guy. What about this? Yeah.
And then through random other things,
We lived together after that for a little while. We formed a pretty cool friend group, and then you just had when this started happening, you were very curious and were gracious enough to offer some help, for which I will owe you until the end of time.
If you're writing checks to your dad, you can write checks to me too.
Yeah. Well,
Well, at least I'm in the front row. I'm on the first check.
I remember requesting invoices, and I think you refused to give them to me.
that's fair.
I think there's what's a statute of
Limitations.
Statute of limitations.
on that.
But yeah, after you had gotten started, it was really good to come and start working with you, give you a hand whenever you needed it. Kind of part-time ad hoc work, and then I've really just been enjoying it. I ended up starting my own business called Sound and Steel Creations because I do so much music and fabrication, weird stuff, but just essentially same things that Tay does, just at a smaller scale. I'm just not quite as well-formed as you.
I'll take the compliment, but I don't think that's really true. I mean, you just have a different realm in which you like to work. I mean, you do from music to cars to, there's a lot of overlap in what we do, sure, but what I appreciate about you is that and I have this, is that you like to retain a certain amount of control and autonomy, it's your thing. You want to
I have
build
a hard
for you.
time with management.
I was management for a little while.
I had a hard time with management.
But it's fine. We grew as friends, and we both, me more than you, but we both, I'm sure, have said some things we didn't want to say or went about things a different way. I grew as a person, as a leader, and as a boss, and as a friend. And when you're working with friends, it gets tough, man, sometimes, because there's the friendship, and then there's the math problem that is a business, and then there's a really fuzzy gray area in between sometimes. And I love you, man. I learned a lot from you, and it was always awesome to have you around here. What I'm excited about now is that we're back under the same roof.
Right. So now I'm renting space from Tay at his shop at Riverdale. So I've got my little nook, and the cool thing is that we can run both of our businesses out of one roof and help each other out. So when Tay needs an extra hand, Wyatt, get over here. I'm like, sure, got you. When I need an extra hand, Tay will come over and give me a spot. You helped me the other day. Just it was something dumb on
Your
the
welder.
MIG welder.
Yeah.
Which started screwing up again.
No warranties.
Tried to call somebody.
But it's really nice to have. It's like my other shop that I rented out before I moved in with Tay. It's just working by yourself all the time. It's just,
Not great.
like, I'm pretty good on my own, but on the other hand, it's like I kind of do like people around.
Yeah,
We're
you
pack
need more
animals,
than one
man.
voice in your head.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I've got a couple extra voices in my head. When I have
Exactly,
more people
right.
You
around,
didn't know
I
that
kinda-
till you were by yourself,
Yeah.
though, did you?
I did not. I did not.
Who the hell's that?
The weird part is they don't speak the languages that I know how to speak. So,
Cool.
but yeah.
But yeah, so obviously people watching have seen a lot of you from the clean out days to and beyond. And when you went to start your own shop, we got a lot of, where's Wyatt, man? Where's Wyatt? Because you got a great presence, man. You're an easy person to be around and very funny.
Insert that Christmas card we made.
Oh yeah, the Lift Our Christmas
Yeah.
card. Gosh, when we were celebrating like 1,000 subscribers,
I don't even think it was that many. I think it was like
I think it was the
500
first
maybe.
1,000, or 500,
Yeah.
which was still significant enough at the time where the
Oh,
four of
yeah,
us
it
sat
was
down and we're like, thank you.
Yeah.
You love us after all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that sort of brings us up to present day, from 21 to 2 weeks ago, Lift Arc was here and we filled it out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we built in this shop that I'm very, very proud of. I mean, with y'all's involvement at Black Dog, we did some pretty big scale things like that 17-foot helical DNA sculpture and
Oh God.
and more recently, the Ridgeview Bank table that
Yeah.
you guys designed and built.
Well, it's been nice having you available. And I know when you first started here, you were obviously worried that you didn't have work.
Where's the work going to come from?
And
Yeah.
I told you that we would feed you everything we could. And believe it or not, we didn't feed you as much as we could have because
I got
you were busy.
Yeah.
And so we understood that. And,
a good thing.
But it was good to have a go-to that wasn't under my roof, under your roof. So, it was sympathetic, of course. But it was nice to have that. And that's still today. Wyatt just built some stuff for us the other day. And so we're still needing y'all's services.
Well, it's still a community.
Yeah.
What is the all ships rise thing? The more that we can help each other out, the better all of us are going to be.
Sure, yeah.
And it seems to be, at least with us and our businesses and Aaron and a couple other shops around, if we keep on helping each other out, it seems to be a good little fabrication community that we're
Well, it's a
growing
collective
and
of talent.
growing up.
You do CNC wood and he does CNC plasma and, within your little community, and I'm part of that community, it's everything's available.
And there's so much work. There's so
Really is.
much work out there. I mean,
So don't worry.
Yeah, get to work.
Don't worry.
Well, and so another big thing, so you got a big, as I'm sure a lot of your viewers will see, in conjunction with a couple other people, especially ShopSaver and Arc3, those are the two big ones, right?
Sponsors, yeah.
Sponsors. And so like with all the ShopSaver stuff, there was a lot of the plasma stuff, which you needed more and more design.
Yes, enter Mr. Spike Geffert. Hi.
There I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so the design, I ran the business by myself for 2 years, which meant answering every phone call, answering every email, designing every build, ordering material for everything, shooting, filming, self-filming, vlogging, which I hate, holding a camera like, hey guys,
Yes, that's long hours for it.
what we're doing today. I know. We used to make fun of like YouTube vloggers all the time, like, what's up? But
Now,
that part, the
to not look at you.
I know, doing the same shit, different day. The upfront part of designing and quoting is so important to bring work in the door, but it takes so long. And when I also have to build it, when the phone rings or an email comes in, people expect an answer, and everything grinds to a halt. And so you and I have been friends for years and years. I think,
years now.
yeah, you're one of my oldest Roanoke friends,
Yeah.
I think. And you went to Tech. You can tell your story. I mean,
I went to Tech for architecture school.
That is Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I can gonna say you better clear that up.
yeah, this is an international show.
That's right.
Yeah, I went to Virginia Tech for architecture school. Did architecture in the real world for like 6 to 7 years.
How'd that go?
Did not like it. I didn't do the type of architecture I wanted to, but I definitely did not like it. I didn't like it in architecture school, but I
Yeah.
was like 4 years in before I realized that. I was like, oh.
Made a commitment now.
Yeah, that's right. Like, hey, Dad, how do you feel if I change majors? Click. And then I taught for a few years, and then now I'm here.
Yeah, we were starting to talk about working together when you were still teaching at Bird. And you were teaching like 5 or 6 tech ed subjects
I taught all of Tech Ed.
every year.
Yeah, I taught every class that Tech Ed offers.
Riley,
Gotta head out.
couldn't have done it without you.
See ya.
Hey, come here.
Yeah.
Plug your, Riley started a production house
Yes.
called Milk Truck Media,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I started a production company this year officially called Milk Truck Media. And
What's it do?
we just do
Milk
video
truck?
production.
No milk.
Yeah, no, so
Nothing to do with dairy or anything.
So the quick story is that I grew up going to a cabin in upstate New York, and it's a family cabin that's been owned by my family for like 100 years.
Cool.
And they used to work. Some of my great grandfather worked for a dairy company, and they needed a anchor for their boat, so they drove an old truck into the river and used it as an anchor. So that's where the milk truck comes from.
That's
the name. But yeah, I do video production of all kinds. Honestly, a lot of the chances here to kind of just test out things and experiment with storytelling, and I get to kind of cut my teeth a little bit with, I had a full-time job when I was here, but I also didn't get to really try things out or, experiment. And so it was a really cool opportunity to get to work with Tay and Walker. And it was a fun period.
Heck yeah, man.
Milktruckmedia.com.
Milktruckmedia.com.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks for all your
That's
help.
where you can find them,
Absolutely.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check us out.
I want to poach you eventually. I want to find a way to bring you back into the fold.
Well,
He's for hire.
hopefully, Milk Truck Media will be going full time in 2025.
Yeah.
His price is also significantly higher than it used to be.
Yeah. Than what I
That is
can
true.
afford,
It used to be nothing. So
yeah.
No place
Like
but
a
up from there.
2,000% increase.
yeah. So cool. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Good seeing you, buddy.
Good to see you guys.
All right.
Everyone, do us a favor. If you like our stuff, go follow Riley on Instagram and wherever. MilkTruckMedia.com. See you, buddy.
Yeah.
Where were we with Spike?
Well, with Spike,
Design.
we were just talking about, I was starting to think if it would be possible, because at the time, I was now paying Walker full-time and Aaron full-time and barely paying myself and you every now and again part-time. But I really needed help on the design side, and couple that with a common theme in my world, which is like, this friend of mine is very talented and I have a need. Can we, can it make sense for both of us? And how does that happen? Like,
We had been designing stuff together for a while.
long time. And in fact, your business partner, Robert, hired Spike out of college for Blue Ridge Residential.
I remember.
your first.
It didn't last long.
Yeah, you're like, do not hire this guy. This.
Yeah, but we met.
No,
in
it's
that
not.
job.
I didn't know you from Adam, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
But we met in that job where you got us the big bricks out of the side of a mountain
Oh, yeah.
up at Bandy's
Good time.
dump site. That's where he and I became
Did
best
you make
friends.
money off of that job?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Truckloads
You know any more?
of glazed brick that could sell for $11 a piece.
Yeah.
This is that glazed brick that used to make up the sidewalk in Roanoke. The star brick, they called it. It was 2 stars, and it was
Yeah, and we
Salt-
were
salt
plucking
glaze.
them out of the hillside.
Somebody had dumped them,
Yeah,
and he told me where they dumped them. We had to go dig them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he said you can have them if you come get
Well, I had
them.
to buy them. Don't get me wrong.
Really?
No, they didn't give me nothing away, and that was fine. You know, just getting access to them. I'm looking for more right now, by the way.
Got a source on star brick.
Yeah.
They're not worth a whole lot. Call him and he'll get rid of them.
Yeah, we'll haul them. We'll haul them off for you.
Yeah.
No charge.
And he won't call Spike to do it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
now that he knows me, so,
Those are the old days.
not my first choice.
Mike and I are in our 30s now, man. I don't want to do that anymore.
Well, I'm in my late 60s, and I don't want to do it
You
anymore
definitely
either.
shouldn't
Yeah.
be doing that anymore.
Yeah. Anyway,
But anyway, so I think at the beginning, probably just, I don't remember exactly how it started, but it was probably like, here's these few things that I need help designing.
Yeah, I had done drawings for you before I started working for you.
Oh, that fire pit, the geometric fire pit
Yeah,
was one,
The one that was
the one that,
off.
the first thing,
I would call it artistic.
yeah, the first thing I had Spike, like, I found a like grainy photo of something that was cool online, and basically was like, hey, can you draw what this probably is in CAD to where I can unfold it and cut it on the plasma cutter?
I remember you guys making it. So I made the files. I sent them to you. I saw the video of it, and I immediately knew exactly what I did wrong. And I fixed it. I sent it to you. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Don't pay me. And you're like, that looks kind of cool. I was like, that's
Cam
what I
has
meant.
this
what
one.
I meant, yeah.
When I got you to plasma cut one for me, we used the original file.
Yeah, why
because
wanted it all
loaded.
weird?
So, but the only thing I did different. So essentially, what had happened? Do you want to explain it?
I got one angle wrong.
You got one angle wrong. So like this half upside down pyramid had a gap between the legs and the bottom of the fire pit. So I just took a piece of whatever scrap, stuck it underneath this to join the two, and it has this really cool flow look to the side of it.
It looks
like,
really cool.
It's got this gap. It's great.
If that was the intent.
Yeah.
Which, that's all of art.
It's a feature,
That's right.
not a flaw.
Yep. That's how we sold it online.
It's a feature.
It actually just guaranteed that we weren't going to get in trouble for copying someone's design because we didn't get anywhere close.
That's right. Yeah, we were just filling that gap, and then it was all fine.
But I think at a certain point it worked out to where like you were rather happily unemployed for a few months, as I remember it. Because you were so burnt out with school, and you were like, give me a minute.
Just for like clarification, I started teaching in COVID.
Yeah.
So not only was I a brand new teacher, but I started teaching in COVID when I had to deal with all the COVID policies, teaching in person, online, and hybrid all at the same time, and teaching 5 different classes every
I
year.
forgot about the online stuff.
And there was a couple classes that you had no idea about. Didn't you teach film or camera?
No, I knew about it all, man.
Oh yeah.
I remember
sorry.
you going like to
You
me.
can edit that out. We have editors.
I was asked to teach a couple of classes where it was like, here, you can teach these. Do you know about these? I was like, I know about them.
Electronics and photography.
Photography
I think.
was-
Remember you came to me and was like, so you shoot. How's that camera work?
Yeah, I was like, give me like the basics. And I was literally learning enough to teach the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I was like dedicated to my craft, but I was
Yeah.
exhausted because every day I was learning new stuff. So like I remember doing family calls on Zoom, and like I was falling asleep during them. Like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm learning 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm so tired.
Do you remember anything you learned about cameras?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I
Nice.
blocked it out. I told him I don't want to teach that class anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, man, having you here has been a godsend because I don't have to think about, like, when it was just me, right? People came to this shop because they wanted to work with Tay Whiteside. They wanted my input. They wanted, very much the person that developed at Black Dog and that they got to know on that show. And they got to see me build things on Salvage Dogs. And when people heard I'm out on my own, they wanted that guy.
Yeah.
Which is fine because it helped with like the initial influx of work and stuff. But I'm only one person. So like when it comes to getting everyone that experience, the design back and forth, because everyone comes to you with a different level of polish. Like, hey, I have a barely formed idea, or here's exactly what I want, and here's a drawing.
We really like those people.
Please do that.
Really like those people.
But to give everyone the time they need in order to figure out if we can even build their thing for them, and if so, how much will it cost and how will it be done? It requires a lot of front end work.
Yeah.
Oh, and then now I have to go build it.
Right.
And you want several things happening at the same time, so it just became. I mean, it was 2 hard years of just having to do that. I was split in 7 directions all the time. And so and also the funny part about hiring you was that it forced me to look inward on these quote unquote systems that I'd created, right? Like, this made sense for me because I just added one step as I needed, the QuickBooks and CAD. And
as soon as you got to teach somebody else, you're like, all right, why did I do it that way?
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the right way.
You're one molecule off.
Yeah.
Right. Well, a good part about us working together was we both have like a very similar work ethic, but also like brain wavelength of like how we're gonna do a thing.
Yes.
Like we've done a bunch of projects together, and we're both always like sort of on the same wavelength.
Yeah, you and I are always the guy at the back going, I don't think they thought this through very well.
To quote Jerry Maguire, you complete me.
Yeah.
And then
Is that the situation here?
Yeah, we complete each other.
I didn't know anything about metal, so then I basically just learned Tay's system of working with metal.
Yeah.
And that informed like how I design and estimate because, okay, I know how Tay's gonna work with it now. I know what the capabilities of metal are. And like anytime I had a question, Tay's a pretty good explainer at like, this is how it works, this is how I do it, this is how it could be done. And that's been like a really interesting mesh of like, I don't draw, I fabricate. I draw, I don't fabricate. And like trying to get those two systems together.
Because the best team is one where each member of the team has a specialty, but they each technically know how to do the other steps.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I know how welding is done. I can weld.
There's Aaron and Arthur crying in the car.
Or Spider-Man.
They're on their way to nap time. And it was been really nice too because having there he is.
That's awesome.
Candy, the sugar high is wearing off.
Oh yeah, you see it coming.
Need more candy.
Yeah, keep it up.
Hair of the dog.
That's right.
Yeah,
Nerds
of the dog.
Be a great
but that was a big jumping off point. And you too actually probably have a lot to say about designing how to get something out of your head onto paper into other people's hands. Like
I'm in therapy for that. How to get it out of my head. Well, I mean,
so much of this is probably a story you wrote 20 years ago.
I write it every day still. I'd rather, and you guys like somebody with fully formed ideas and ideas. I want somebody with abstract ideas that has no clue, wants your artistic input, because I see things completely different than most folks. So, the application of this on top of that with this on there, well, you can really do it another way, and this has more balance. So this is, I see balance. I'm kind of a Forrest Gumpy on that. I see things differently, but back to you wanting the Tay Whiteside version or Blessing or Sweat or whatever it is you put on it. It's the same thing.
People want that from you.
They want to know the same thing, and it's really, I don't do that much fabricating anymore, but I do come up with ideas. Now I got people working for me, like you have Spike working for you. You give them the license to create, because that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
If you're just out there grinding it out and making widgets, well, after the first couple of days, you're already bored. Like working with Tay and you guys together, y'all create in a different level of a field, you know, so it's not the same thing.
Oh, my widget number 2 on board.
Yeah, big time, not a widget guy.
Not a widget guy.
No.
I love creating the process to make the widget.
See, I don't live in that plane.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not right angle. Unlike a lot of people I know, that's how they have to live in that box. I don't have a box, and that just makes me who I am. You know, so don't feel like you're letting people down because you're not doing every aspect of it. You know, you think of Chihuly, the glass guy.
Yeah.
You think he blows glass anymore? No.
Yeah.
He envisions and directs, but he doesn't do the functionality of it. You know this. And your sister's the same way when it comes to glass blowing. You have people blowing for you that, here's my idea, here's my creative. Let it go.
We created the IP the hard way, and now it's like how to give everybody a version of that experience.
And then duplicating it, you get other people to duplicate them for you. Like we've created furniture that's been successful, so now we have it made, and all we have to do is unbox it. And you're getting, this is the concept. This is the version 200.
It's y'all's original thought, original design.
I mean, that's just the world in general. You know?
Yeah.
Keep on forgetting how creative your whole family is.
Yeah.
I mean, your dad with Black Dog, your mom's an interior designer.
And an artist.
Yeah. Phenomenal interior designer and an artist.
Yeah.
Your sister is a glass blower, went to VCU. Then now, is she in Brooklyn or outside of Brooklyn?
Brooklyn. Yeah.
Brooklyn doing glass blowing, and she's got some incredible designs.
Yeah.
It's like these little twists. That's so much cooler.
Grace and Aaron work similarly in that they really have an appreciation for the object.
Yeah.
Why does this thing evoke emotion, and how did I tend to think zoom out a little more. I love when artists can really I can't really do it. But when they make a thing and it's like you hold it and you're like, Jesus, I've never seen anything like that before. You know?
Like the attention to detail.
Yeah. I'm a function guy.
Yeah.
Everything about me is just like, is
We
it
know,
gonna
buddy.
work? Is it strong? You know, somebody come up with the design. I'll make that sucker. I'll make that sucker bulletproof.
It'll work. Yeah.
It takes everybody to do it. You know, I mean, again, from the inception to the delivery. You know, it's just part of the process.
Function is a hard inclusion in a design. Like, does it have to do something?
It definitely does.
Whew.
I think it does. You know, I'm just putting together a chair. A chair can look great, but if it doesn't sit good, it's just art.
That's the point of
Just art.
It's not what's the point of the chair. It's nice if it's even more important if it sits good. Because I'm a functional guy. I like to sit, obviously.
That was the
I
joke.
love an ugly chair that feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone has in their house, well, not everyone, a lot of people in their house have an ugly chair. They're like, go sit in that chair. Like, that's a nice chair.
All right. Well, to put a somewhat of a bow tie on this thing, it all really started. The butterfly effect is a powerful thing because it all really started at Black Dog. My fortunate involvement in the business that you created in 1999 that's still open, still celebrated by locals and beyond. And I learned so much. I went to college for a year and a half and dropped out to pursue a career in network television.
Yeah.
Because of the show.
You want to go to school or you want to make some money?
Somehow neither.
Your mom was pissed, you know, but that's all right.
But that was, a lesson in things I didn't even think I was getting a lesson in. You know, sales, how to talk to people, equipment operation, working with your hands, woodworking, metalworking, finishing, repair, mechanics, literal auto and equipment mechanic, how to navigate, how to travel, how to coordinate with other people. Like,
holy cow.
Anyone who has the opportunity to either, whether it's a family business or not, like working with a small business and being in it while it grows and changes, so long that you have the patience for it will teach you so much because you end up having to learn a lot and be malleable and flexible. It was a quality of Black Dog that bothered the hell out of me sometimes, you know, the wearing multiple hats and not being, you got to take them on and off real fast and you're not allowed to really specialize. But at the same time, it's like, oh, if you can make this work and learn from it and, you know, try to have a good attitude and work with the people around you, like, you're just going to come away from it such a stronger.
Well, it gives you a
person.
much wider, broader view of aspects of everything, just life in general, how to deal with people, and that gives you the basis of how to deal with a piece of metal, whatever. I mean, there's no connection between the two, but there is.
Yeah.
Skills.
You know, it's life skills. That's right. And you know, and it's been a good road so far. I mean, we still got some stuff ahead of us, but I've really enjoyed watching y'all do this. I say y'all because all of y'all have been a part of this whole journey for Tay and for me. That it's fun to see young folk
Chase it.
plow through life, you know, because life is not going to be easy for you. You know, even if you've got it easy, it's still not easy. So you're creating your thing.
I chose my hard.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I try
know where to go
to
with that.
choose what is hard. You know, like don't make it weird.
I didn't. I was like, this for. Never mind.
No.
Cut that.
Cut. No, nothing's being cut.
Choose my heart.
Damn, I didn't even know. I wasn't trying to.
I know. Well, you again, this is all about your ethos, your journey. You know, who knows where everybody's going to be next year? You know,
Dog phone.
you know who this is.
I do know who that is. Yeah. You're getting a WhatsApp call. Is he like in China or something right now?
Probably. I'll call him later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack
Well, anyway, thank you for making me go to work with you when I was 8. And all I wanted to do was stay home and
Officially,
play
you were
video
12.
games.
Officially, you were 12.
For the child labor laws.
That's right. And this building that we're in is going to see another chapter in its life. You know, it's been around over 100 years. It's time for it to be something else, and I'm excited about that because it's going to be on the market.
It's for sale.
You know, and if I was a younger man, I would just move right in, but I'm not. And
My mom wouldn't like it.
well, she would if I could put a horse in here. You know, we'd make this the livery for Roanoke. You know, she'd love that.
Sure.
But not. Now, this is the next chapter of this building is yet to be written, and I appreciate y'all doing everything you've done, especially you, Tay, that got it to this point. It's so much better. It's an anchor on this street.
Yeah.
And it's going to do nothing but spread out from here, and it's going to be interesting to watch the progression, you know. And this is you know, your first one is always your best.
Why?
Because you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So it is got to be your best.
Yeah.
This is where you guys started, you know.
Yes.
And it's,
in just 5 years, there feels like 20 years of history in here.
you've
you know?
put 20 years into 5 years.
I lost 20 years off my life.
No, no, well, maybe, but you're young. The way I look at it, you're young. You can screw up a couple of times before you got to get to the point where you start really thinking hard about it. You know,
That advice was literally given to me by someone, and I've heeded it ever since. Like, screw up as much as you can. They said until you're 30, but you know, there's some gray area there.
Whoop, too late. You're already.
I'm good. I'm good.
The new 30.
I'm 31. I'm ready to go. But yes, so I mean, thank you for the opportunity to start Lift Arc and hear everybody. I mean, there's millions of people watching this that got to celebrate the weird things about this building and the stuff that was in it, and people started to feel attached to it and invested in it in our journey to save it and rehab it and make it live on. So it's ready for you if you're out there.
Whoever is out there watching.
How can they reach out to you if you actually want to buy this place?
It's
welcome back.
Captain Salvage.
I agree.
At gmail.com. CAPTIN, because I can't spell, first off. Salvage at gmail.com.
Dad was a yacht captain for many years and spelled captain wrong.
Captain.
He's a captain.
Hey,
Not captain.
You should
wear a medal.
Captain.
do you want to?
Captain.
Captain.
How do you
That's my
spell it?
audio.
CAPTIN.
I accidentally pressed this
Yeah,
yellow
you should
button.
wear a metal hat.
Cap 10. A tin cap. See what he did there?
Okay. No. Captain Salvage at gmail.com.
email him. If you're in Roanoke or the surrounded area and you
Yeah.
want to check it out, it's nearly empty.
If you can't get me, go to him. He can get me. Or
Yeah.
any of these other fine gentlemen here.
Find us, comment on the video, reach out to any of us on Instagram, Sound and Steel Creation, Lift Arc Studios, Walker's username,
BlackDogSalvage.com.
Whiteside, blackdogsalvage.com.
Still going.
Still up.
I'll still be a part of it for
That website's had an evolution.
the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Come see us in Roanoke. We are now over in Riverdale, which is a vastly changing 100-acre industrial complex that was.
Is it 100 acres?
I think so. I think I heard Ed
believe
say it
it.
was about 100 acres.
It's
Because
amazing.
it goes way back into the back there. But it was a early 1900s synthetic fiber manufacture facility. That was
Rayon.
rayon, viscose. Well, I don't know what that
American viscose. Rayon is like a nylon
Yeah.
pair of shoes and stuff
material.
of that nature. Yeah.
Closed out in the 40s, railroad owned it for 30 years, that stopped, and then it was split into a hoarder's delight, and now it's being actually turned into a live, work, eat, play, nuclear city type cool place to hang out. So we're in a 9,000 square foot, 9,500 square foot building that we are in the middle of rehabbing again. I haven't learned my lesson.
No, you have to make it yours.
Yeah.
You know, that's what that's all about.
We have 3 times the space.
Yeah.
All the guys here have been putting up with a lot of chaos and movement, but I think we're all excited about what that new space can be and why it's back in the fold. And you've seen it. And, huh?
Your mic's pressed up against your.
Oh, I hate these clips so much. How much of that was unusable? Just the last paragraph.
If you can remember what you said.
Not a chance.
We'll dub it.
Yeah.
9,500 square foot.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, our new building I'm very, very excited about. I've been working very hard on it. We've framed out a new office just like we did here. Ran, $15,000 worth of new electrics through the building. I mean, the scale, the building's bigger, and so the price tag's bigger and the work is bigger, but we have our sights set on bigger things.
The word is bigger.
The word is bigger.
That's
and
right.
the work we can work on now is bigger. The team is bigger, and the fun is bigger.
You just can't avoid places with an obscene amount of history, can you?
Well, it makes it fun.
Yeah.
It makes it interesting. And people are actually commenting on these recent move videos. They're like, oh, it's such a bummer. The old shop had such character. And, in a way, they're right. I mean, these 100-year-old skylights and the way it was built and the part of town it's in and what used to be done here. I don't know anything really about the new building as far as what was done in it. And it doesn't get cooler than a 100-year-old machine shop.
This
It
could
really
be
doesn't.
a restaurant or a yoga studio, or it can be a fab shop again. It's a vanilla box.
3,700 square feet of endless possibilities.
Opportunity is what I look at.
It's a vanilla box that's got a whole lot of wiring in here.
Yeah, it's ready, guys. So whatever you want to do, come on in.
Board game tournaments.
It can be yours if the price is right.
I do know many people who would kill to have this as like a video studio.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Call them up.
Yeah. They might
What's
sit
old,
there
milk
probably.
truck doing?
Yeah.
Riley? Just
Be a
walked out.
collaborative, get a bunch of people together. Buy it, and I would like to say I would rent her, but I'm really not too excited about that.
Yeah, his last tenant really gave him a headache.
Wore me out. No, he made it easy. All right.
Okay, so that's it. Come find us at the new space, 1915 Power Street Southeast, Building 12A over there in Riverdale. The next 5 to 10 years for that place is going to be monumental change.
Yeah.
They're breaking ground, they're redoing water mains, and they're going to repave everything eventually. And Art Space is coming in there somewhere, which is a nonprofit that creates multi-unit buildings that are filled with artist studios, so artists can live and work there. And so that's a big part of what that area is going to be. There's going to be breweries and distilleries probably eventually, and music venues, and you name it. And our fab shop gets to be right in
This
the
could
middle.
be that on a much smaller scale,
Yeah.
by the way.
If you don't, if Riverdale's too big, come down to Aurora Avenue.
It's a starter home.
Yeah.
Speaking of starter home.
For the 5 people that are still watching, thank you guys very, very much. Without our viewers, there will be many, many things that we've had the fortune to do that we wouldn't have been able to do. Thank you to Walker, who's now back with us, and for packaging all this stuff for people to watch and allowing us to throw memory cards at you and you weave them into a beautiful story.
Shout out again to Riley. Who
Yes.
Also,
Kickstarted it all.
our channel would not be where it is without him. So
There you go.
Aaron for all his
Aaron.
connections. And
I don't know if you guys talked about it at all, but you and Aaron and Riley and us two, the behind the craft kind of.
Oh, yeah. We had, but yeah.
Well, like he was there for that ride, kind of had built the outline for what that was.
Yep.
And, that's originally how we got to kind of explore some things outside of the fold of this shop.
I just wanted to be Anthony Bourdain. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't want to
Yeah.
go that far, do we?
If anybody out there has seen that or our recent live re-airing of it, we'd love to resurrect that at some point.
Yeah, the Behind the Craft series.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, this is the first official episode of the Lift Dark After Dark podcast.
Ooh.
Did you guys know that?
Oh, it's awfully bright.
I'm out.
That's out. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate you. For the podcast listeners, we'll see you on the next one. For our YouTube audience, thank you so much. You'll see something very entertaining very soon. And go follow Black Dog Salvage on socials and the website. You guys are doing videos and stuff all the time. And
Daily
Founded
Dogs.
Steel Creations and Lift Dark Studios everywhere. You get your stuff. Buy our shirts and their shirts.
Everybody
Happy holidays.
And my shirts. I have to get rid of a bunch.
Yeah, Walker just moved. Okay, cut.
Non-branded.
Good job, boys.